This is going to be a short and sweet video because I do want to get this up and I want to kind of talk about it. So the New York Rangers trade K'Andre Miller to the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, like all opinions, I just have to say this, it's not a dick, just an opinion, don't take it so hard. I think when it comes down to it, the trade makes sense for both parties. I think value-wise, the Rangers win this trade because of the draft capital. But before I just get into my synopsis to get into it. K'Andre Miller traded to the Carolina Hurricanes. Rangers trade back a 2026 first round and second round pick to the New York Rangers. And also Scott Morrow, one of Carolina's top prospects who had 39 points in 52 AHL games played last season. So, you know, you get a good young defenseman in the pipeline in Morrow. You get a first and a second round pick for a guy in K'Andre Miller that, let's just say what it was. It wasn't great the last year there. Kind of, I think management lost faith in him. And as for Miller, he gets signed to an 8-year, $60 million deal. Annual cap hit of 7.5 per year, which I don't think's bad for a guy of Miller's caliber. And I think Carolina sees the promise in him. That's the big thing here. I am very high on Miller as a player myself. I think there's more there. I think he's got the size. He does have some offensive gifts. If he can really round his defensive game into form, he could be just tremendous at the back end. And this is why I think Carolina personally will be the perfect spot for him. The Rangers, not throwing any shade here, I don't think for a guy like Miller is necessarily the best situation. You go to Carolina where defense first is the mentality, having a 200-foot game. Miller can also provide on the back end. I think the Canes could transform him into a better version, or the version that the Rangers believe he could eventually become. So this is what the Hurricanes general manager Tulsky had to say. K'Andre is a defenseman who we feel is a very strong fit for the way we play. He is approaching his prime, and we are confident he will excel in a Hurricane sweater. And, I mean, makes a lot of sense. Rangers did just add Gavrikov to a 7-year, $49 million deal. I think Gavrikov and Adam Fox would be tremendous on the back end. And if the Canes, in this report, eventually get Ehlers, if they could get Ehlers, that would be absolutely tremendous, personally. I think that would be really good. And it puts the Canes in a situation where maybe they can really go a little bit further in the playoff picture. I know Ranger fans, not all of them, but some of them kind of just got a little fed up with Miller's play. He can be a bit of a defensive liability. I don't know if it was just a lack of attention to detail. I don't know if it's a lack of coaching. I'm not too sure. But I do think in Carolina, you could see Miller transform into that defenseman. A lot of Ranger fans thought he could. So value-wise, Rangers win this deal just because of the first and second round pick, and then also a very good prospect in Morrow, who's 22 years old. But then it's like, I don't think the Canes necessarily lose this deal, because with the cap going up 7.5, if Miller just turns out to be a adequate second pairing guy that can be average defensively, I don't think that cap hit's ridiculous. And with draft capital, I mean, we all know how it goes. Draft picks are not always a sure thing. You're not always going to hit a home run. Sometimes those guys won't really make the NHL level. I did look into the statistics. It's about 68% of first round picks play 100 games at the NHL level. And then once you go past the first round, it decreases significantly. So I do think the Rangers did a good job. Got some good pieces there for Miller. And the Hurricanes definitely see something there. See something that they could maybe fix, and maybe you see the best version of them. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What did you think of this trade? Got the ball. See you in the next one.